a bit nervy. That might not necessarily fully help them
That's
being
an
at home.
understatement, isn't it, that the Arsenal fans are nervy? And by the way, they have every right to be nervous because of the history, right? So we can understand that nervous tension. For me, as you guys know, I've got a 16-year-old son who is an Arsenal fan, and just before that Man City game, it was a quadruple they were going to win. Then after that, they didn't want to win that anyway. It was going to be the treble because that was a Mickey Mouse Cup. And now they don't want that. They only want the two big ones. So, you know, week after week, this is what the Arsenal players and Arteta genuinely have to deal with, because their fan base changes week to week. I think when they look at the game as in its totality, they will look and say, we need to be a lot better in our second game, because we're going to show you a little bit later. Sporting had so many chances where they could just get in down that right-hand side, where Sporting will be looking and go, oh, if we could be a little bit better, we've got a chance.
Is it fair to say, Troy, since the turn of the year, Arsenal have not yet still put in a complete 90-minute performance? We talk about Arsenal, we're not trying to be super negative, because I say they're playing winning football, they're getting the job done. They're just getting by and getting it done, and that's what they've been doing, apart from obviously losing to Southampton and then Manchester City. But the entirety of it, since the turn of the year, it still hasn't been super great.
At the end of the day, you don't win a league off of a couple of games. The totality of the season, right? They were first in the Champions League and the first in the Prem for that reason. But now we're getting, and Grella made a great point last time in the Champions League, this level of the competition, your weaknesses get highlighted. And I just think as you start to go further on, this Arsenal team plays against Barcelona. I don't think Barcelona go, oof, we're worried. I think Arsenal go, how do we stop them? And I just think as it develops, that's where it becomes a little bit more in favour of the other teams. I
think for Arsenal, too, they've changed with over the last couple months, when now it's time that they have to show and they have to play and they have to win games. Yeah, OK, top of the Premier League, that's an unbelievable accomplishment. We don't want to take that away. And like Nigel said, we don't want to be negative. Top of the Champions League in the group stage, fine. But now it's time to win the trophies. Now it's time to play those kind of games. For me, they did a great job today. They won 1-0 away from home. Sporting, all due respect to them, is not an easy place to go play. We saw what happened to Bodo there. Could have scored 12 goals on them. But if you're Arsenal and you're Arteta, you're looking at that and saying, hold on one second. It's too slow. It's too predictable. The ball doesn't go wide anymore. They don't put their wingers in situations 1v1 anymore. Martinelli, Saka, the wingers that they use, Madueke today, right? Arsenal could have put Sporting in a game that was way too physical for them, way too fast for them. They probably could have walked away 2-3-0, probably could have limited their chances a little bit more if they played faster, if they played with more energy, if they played the way Arsenal played in the first 6 months of the season. Yeah. It's become so slow. We went live to watch them in the Carabao Cup. It was so slow. I thought I was watching an Italian team. Boom and boom and boom and boom. And when you play that way, you allow teams like Sporting to hang around. You allow them to hit the bar. You allow them to play in a game.
You wouldn't have been watching an Italian team because these made it to the finals.
That's true. That's true. But I will say, Sporting players will walk off there and be like, okay, that's the best in the world. That's the team that just a month ago was going to win the quadruple. That's the best. They'll feel like they have a chance. But if Arsenal play to the top of their abilities, they
in the way that they can play, do you think, Nige? Because obviously it has been a difference, hasn't it? But maybe not so meaningful.
It's not one thing you can put a point on to say why. Obviously, they've had players come in and out. A lot of it is just going to have to fall to Mikel Arteta. It's the manager. It's him. He has to motivate these players. Sometimes when you see him on the sideline, you feel sometimes he's over-coaching, that these players play so restricted. They're not playing with a tremendous amount of freedom. And that all comes from the manager. It's how the manager wants you to play when he puts you into team. You talk about Eze. When Eze plays, you can see he's different. He's not overcoached. And if someone wants a comparison, I look at it with Pep. Ryan Cherki. When Ryan Cherki plays, you can see that Pep knows he has to play him. Pep might not want to play him because he doesn't go into the Pep system, but Pep can see he's making the team better. He's creating more chances for us, and we're winning games. So Pep will play him. With Arteta, you just feel that he still restricts his players way too much. And the word that I worry, like what Grella and Troy said, is creativity. They're not really creating a lot now too much in open play. And it's one or two moments, which credit to them, they're taking it, but it's not great, and I agree with them. I think Sporting could look into that second leg feeling very confident still that they could probably maybe get a result.
Pretty even in terms of possession and shots on target, and it was actually Sporting that outdid them in the shots category. Here is the winning manager after the game, though, Mikel Arteta.
At any point that your control wouldn't turn itself into a goal?
Yes, because when we got into the final third and we got set there, we lacked the final bit. You know, we had to be a little bit more crispier, I would say faster, more efficient to break them down when they had that block. We try in different ways. We got the goal disallowed. There were 2 or 3 occasions we were quite close, but we lacked that final pass. And in the end, a magic moment for the finishers, win us the game.
The finishers, the subs, yes, they came on and did it, didn't they? Wonderfully constructed, wasn't it?
Beautiful, and that's the impact that you need when you get to these stations in the season. Everybody has to make an impact, and they certainly done that tonight.
Yeah, what can you say about Kai Havertz? He is a player, isn't he, for the big occasion?
He loves the big occasions, the big games, and that's what we need, the big players to turn up when we need them and to win us a game.
Yes. How do you... Listen, David Raya, we've obviously talked about him in the team or not in the team. Player of the match tonight, where do you place his performance?
Yeah, because he had 2 moments that we made 2 big saves, and that's the Champions League. The Champions League is decided always in the boxes, and because there's so much quality here, and when you need him...
Look at that touch.
That's an unbelievable touch, and that was very early in the match as well, so that could have changed the tie.
Yes. Kai has just called him the best goalkeeper in the world.
At the moment, is phenomenal. He's been extraordinary since he joined us, and we are very lucky to have him.
Is this a transformation point or a turnaround point? That's something that Kai mentioned as well now, after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think we have to reveal ourselves today, and I talk about identity and other things that we are as a team, that I definitely saw that tonight.
And for this group, what does it mean?
It's half-time. We are a step closer. Now we need to finish the tie at home in front of our people, and if we do that, we're going to start to dream.
Thank you, Mikel.
Thank you.
You shared your thoughts at the beginning there, Troy. Quicker, crispier, faster, everything that you wanted to see.
Everything that we said, right, Grella? Yeah, it's everything that we said. So it's good to see that we're seeing the game the same as the manager's seeing it. I thought it was interesting that he said the save from Raya, obviously that early in the game, the one he tips onto the bar, changes the course of the game, because if that goal goes in, we know that the Lisbon fans and the crowd would get up, the feeling would be different. Then he would have to see, the identity that he talks about of his team at that point. But he won't really care too much. At this point of the season, we say it for everybody else, and I feel like we don't really give Arsenal this grace. Just win. Who cares? We'll figure out the performance further down the line, but just win. And they keep doing that. So he'll take a bit of a step back and go, OK, we won this game. Can we be better? Yes. But that one thing that we keep doing is winning. Over the course of the season, they keep winning. We keep seeing performances like this, don't we, Nigel, where we're going, but it weren't great, and it wasn't commanded, it wasn't dominant.
You just got to give them credit because they got the job done.
Winning.
Like, they won. Like, we get taught it's all about winning when we were young, and that winning mentality. And that's what it is when you look at this Arsenal side right now. You just got to give them credit because they win. It wasn't fantastic football. It wasn't pleasant to watch. They can do it in many different ways.
So how do they do it in the next leg then? Do they come out a bit more cautious, or do they need to be more attacking and play quicker football at home?
Them being at home with the Arsenal fan base right now and the nervous energy that's around the place, they have to be aggressive. They cannot sit back and let Sporting come onto them. I think that would be the wrong way to approach that game. He has to get them motivated and fired up to really go guns blazing, because you want the fan base behind you to believe. If they sit back and Sporting start to dominate and get near to creating chances or score a goal, or they go 1-0 down, that stadium will go quiet. And the Arsenal fans will probably start to think, uh-oh, here we go again, instead of getting behind the team, which is what we witnessed at the League Cup final. So I think they have to be aggressive. What I found interesting in his interview as well as Poppi is what he's saying now. In this moment of the season, you want your players to come and make an impact. So he's talking now like he knows it's a lot about the players who come off the bench to affect the game. He called them finishers, yeah. So it seems like now he's leaning a lot more to his... Yeah, all right, you want to pat the back?
No, I'm just
checking.
Finishers. Always called subs. Yeah. That's what they are.
He wants his finishers to have an impact on the team. So I think that's something that's quite eye-opening now, that he knows his team are kind of, I don't know, would you say running out of energy a bit? Like you talk about them not being quick enough. So now he needs more impact and influence from players off the bench.
Before Grella goes, I think this is what they are. I think we're going to see exactly the same game at the Emirates. A team that tries to control, go wide, try and get set pieces, try and get crosses into the box. I don't think all of a sudden they're going to now play this intricate passing through the lines and little slip balls. That's who they are, and they're comfortable being like that. The problem they do have is this crowd can turn very quickly, as we witnessed, and it only takes a Sporting chance, a Sporting goal, for that seed of doubt to come in. And unfortunately, as we said before, until Arsenal get over the hump of winning something, that's going to be at their doorstep until they win. And it's just unfortunate.
Do you think they're playing nervously?
They have to. It's all there. At the start of the season, it was all an idea. Like, this is great, this is great, this is great. It's like buying a house, as you know better than anybody, Grella. When you find the house, you're like, oh, that's great, we've agreed the price, that's great. Oh, actually, wait, have we got the mortgage? Have we got the deeds? And all you start to, as you get closer and closer, you start to think of all the things that could go wrong. And people just tighten up. It's human nature.
How do you feel, Grella, about the second leg? Because obviously we just mentioned as well, Sporting absolutely blew Bodo Glimt away in the second leg. So they're up for the challenge. We know that from what we've seen this season.
Yeah. Different circumstance because they had nothing to lose against Bodo, so they opened up real wide and they were at home.
But they don't have anything to lose in the next leg.
That's true, but they're still in the game. I just think, like Arteta says it, we don't need to say it. He says it needs to be crispier, it needs to be faster, it needs to be more energy. I just think that to play at the highest level in the Champions League, when you come up against maybe Barcelona, maybe Atletico Madrid, maybe Bayern Munich in the final, maybe whoever it is in the final, and you play at that pace where it's sort of lumbering and it's side to side and it's slow and it's predictable, those teams are going to beat you. Those teams are going to put you in matches that are too fast. Like Bayern Munich today, I was thinking about this earlier. Real Madrid are so difficult to play against because think about it. Once you start getting runners in the midfield, or you're getting Mbappe running or Vinny running behind you, it's so easy to get negative. It's so easy to say, okay, you know what? We've got the 2-0 lead. Instead of playing with 4, let's drop one more guy in the back line. Let's invite a little pressure. Bayern Munich didn't do it. Bayern Munich played toe-to-toe with them. That's why they got chances and Real Madrid got chances. That's why it was end-to-end, because Bayern Munich didn't respect it. They continued to play their game, and Real Madrid continued to play their game. It's so hard to do that and not respect the opponent. Arsenal respect the opponent too much. So, like, when Sporting would break pressure, they all go back in a low block. Okay, here we go. We're going to sit in this low block now. We're going to invite them in. I think that against the best teams, that you're going to get found out. You have to play at a higher tempo. You have to play at a higher physicality. You have to play better combinations. You have to break the lines, both offensively, defensive transition. Have to be better. Have to look like a top team. Against Sporting, it didn't look like a top team. Yeah, we'll employ them. Say, yes, great, but don't make no mistake. Arteta went in changing room after, and he'll go there in the changing room now and say, guys, we want to be high, we want to win something big. We have to play. We have to raise the levels for sure. Right now, they're playing. Let's say their capacity is 10. They're playing a 6 out of what they can actually play to.
That's been the problem, though. It's been going on for a long time now. And like Grella says, there's moments where you have to show that arrogance. You know, playing against some of the best players that I've played with in my career, you could see when you're on the pitch with them, they have that arrogance about them. Like, they're just so arrogant on the pitch, but they back it with their performances. And for the Arsenal players, you feel that they have to be a bit more arrogant because they do worry too much about every opponent they play against.
Would you be concerned if you're Arteta?
You've got no real choice, really. I think that obviously Timber's injured, so now you've given opportunity to Ben White, and it's down for Ben White to really take a bit more accountability, responsibility. And
but you played that position.
Playing games, yeah, I played that position.
But you see there, like, where he's in between, isn't he? He doesn't know whether to be real tight to his centre backs or go 1v1, and he's kind of doing nothing in that weird.
It's lack of game time. That's what it is. When you're not playing consistently enough, week in, week out, it becomes very difficult because sometimes you get caught in no man's land, which is what it is. Sometimes you go in, you don't go out. But then when you play week in, week out, it's muscle memory. You know the positioning, where to be. You know how to. You've got that relationship more because you play every single week with Saliba and Gabriel. And it's also knowing when not to go into no man's land where you leave that space. So the one thing for me was always being tight to my centre backs, go out wide. If you were going out wide, I'm doing my job, then I can close you down and make it difficult for you. The worst thing is, like how he got caught out in that place, getting caught in that no man's land and that ball goes in and you're running back. That is a cardinal sin. So you're always better to stay off at home and have the play in front of you. If you've got the play in front of you, you're doing your job because you can see everything.
Raya doesn't make that save, too. It's 1-0. And then, like Arteta said himself, the game is different. And also the second one that Troy shows. The ball comes across. That's a simple volley, really, from a player of that quality from Sporting. That ball comes down. He lays it across. Then it's 2-0. And now you're having this conversation, right? And you're showing these kind of plays. By the way, Ben White in those clips is 3 yards off of where he should be, 4 yards off of where he should be. Kind of goes into that little area. The highest level, that's what gets found out. You know, so that's on the other side of the ball. And like we spoke about Arsenal before, at the highest level, you got to move it quicker when you have the ball. So on both ends, Arsenal can improve for sure from tonight. They'll look at it and improve.
Why do you think, Nigel, it's such a problem for Arsenal playing quickly at the minute? Because you've all said it here, Arteta said it. Is it a mental thing, or what's the reasoning behind it?
It's been a long season. It's a long season, a lot of games, whether people like it or not. And if you look at Arteta's team, he's really kept a consistent team. He's tried to use other subs when he can. It becomes draining because it's not just the physical output these players are dealing with. There's the emotional output as well. There's everything that we talk about. Are they going to get over the line? How hungry they're at the start of the season, when we got to interview the Arsenal players last year about wanting to win the league this year. So all of that emotion, they carry that. So as you're coming now to the final stretch of the season, it becomes a toll. And I'm not making an excuse, and people might say, you know, they've got enough of a squad. But like we just said there, you can see when Ben White comes in, when Timber's not there, the lack of game time, the lack of rhythm, and how that can be used to be as a tool to defeat you. So for me, I just think that the players look tired, which is why Arteta came out and said about his finishes. He knows now the importance of people coming off the bench to get the job done, or to be that creative spark and make things happen. I mean, we saw Max Dowman come on today,
I was about to say that.
16-year-old. And that just shows you how far he's going now.
He's become vital for them over the last 4 or 5 weeks. That young man who just comes in, carefree, high energy, wants to try things. It's a good moment for him as well, and for Arteta to have that weapon. Go, okay, the players trust him, the fans get excited. Let's give him the ball. So expect to see him over the coming weeks get more game time, especially in the Premier League.
Just very quickly, one-word answers to Arsenal advance in this tie next week. Nige, yes or no?
Maybe. It's one word.
Yeah, but it's yes or no. The options are yes or no.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
You agree, Troy?
Yes.
Yeah.